Good evening, iRacers, and welcome to episode 11, I think. Meant to check before I started the video. No, mind. Episode 11, I think, of How Is That Guy a WCS Driver? Radical Racing again. We can see that we are at Silverstone this week, Sunday night. Not split this race, but we've got, including myself, 4 of the 5 quickest cars in qualifying for the week, so I'm looking forward to this. We've got Simon Hulbert, who is got first position on our grid. I think Richard Avery has actually got the overall pole for the week, I think. And then myself, and then Danilo Jacobs, twisted tongue. And then we've got Tam Lanther then in 4th. So it's going to be a tough race, I think. Should be pretty hectic. We'll see how we go. Waiting for the light.
Green, green, green.
Not one of my best getaways. Had a little bit too much wheel spin off the line.
On your right. Still there, still there. Clear, clear, clear.
And so it looks like Danilo is on a lower downforce setup than I am. It's going to be interesting during a race to see how that turns out between the 4 of us. Big differences this week in the setups of using Sasha's high downforce setup that he shared on the forum, but it's either really extreme high downforce here or very, very low downforce. So it's going to be we've got to be very careful and see how different people's speeds are at different places on the circuit. Make sure we don't get ourselves caught out at all. Not a great run out of the final corner there, out of left field. A little bit too hot into Cops there. We had to really wait much too long to get on the power. Try and make sure we hang on to the slipstream of the 2 ahead. If we are running this higher downforce so we get out of their draft, then it's going to make it a bit tougher still. Ooh, didn't really want to take anything like that amount of curb on the inside there. I think Tom's going to get a little bit of a run at us, I think, as we head towards bridge.
On your left. Still there. Clear.
Yeah, so just losing touch of the front 2 now. I was watching Simon in practice earlier and he's looking very, very quick especially. But we need to try and get in a couple of more sensible laps really, try and hang with them a little bit more. Okay, so that was better through club that time. We've gained just a little bit on second position going through that sequence there. We've managed just to pull a little bit of a gap now on Tom behind, at least trying not to be under quite so much pressure for this lap, hopefully. I wonder actually how much of a difference there is in our setups. Actually, I thought at the start that Danilo was on maybe a low downforce setup, but he's not actually gaining as much down the straights as I thought, so it'll be interesting to find out maybe after the race. But I think it looks like we're all on perhaps a high downforce setup, I would guess. Yeah, we have managed to build a fair bit of time now to Tom behind, so hopefully we can try and concentrate a bit more on the guys ahead. Just a little bit early trying to get on the power that time. I had to wait a fair amount of time before I could get full power really. I do really enjoy Silverstone, so just like Brands last week, I've been lucky enough to drive here a couple of times in real life, and actually in a Radical as well, and a little SR4 on the new version of the circuit with the arena section on the inside. So it looks like Danilo has just dropped off the back a little bit of Simon now. I think the last lap they were almost on top of each other coming into the final complex here, but not quite this time by. Yeah, so those front two are running at some pace really now. I've been much happier with the last couple of laps, but that's a good way to start the lap, running wide out into the AstroTurf at Cops. Just a little bit early trying to get on the power at a chapel there. Had to wait too long again before I could get on full power. Yeah, Danilo and Simon look like they're running a quicker pace than I'm going to be able to manage even with clean laps really, so we just need to try and make sure we try and keep this bit of space to Tom, who's managed to close up a fair bit now. We could do with those front two just starting to squabble away a little bit. That would be helpful. Draw them back towards us again maybe. not the cleanest first corner again, but not as bad as the last lap at least. I'd be not taking too much more of that inside curb into maggots there. Wasn't that far off getting a slowdown penalty, I reckon. Right, well, Tom is right back on us again now, so we're gonna... Yeah, we allowed that nice gap that we'd built just to completely disappear again. Haven't actually looked, lack of preparation this week, haven't actually looked to see how many laps it is that we're expecting to be doing here, but as normal it's our 25-minute run. And in fact, again, lacking that preparation, I did mean to double check that I was going to have enough fuel as well, so we've gone with the normal 26 litres, so hopefully that won't trip me up come the end of the race. I haven't seen any complaining about fuel in the forums this week, so hopefully that isn't going to be a silly oversight that we've made. We'll see how it pans out. Just a little bit hot into stow there, and a silly off-track to waste. So Tom's going to get this run into Ward's Bridge again.
On your right. Clear.
Just a little bit early slowing for Ferrari there. Sorry Tom, as I just went into third a bit sooner than I needed to be really. No doubt that was a bit of a surprise. Keep an eye on, I was about to say keep an eye on the back marker, but he's gone into the pits, so that was well timed. The leader's now 5 seconds down the road. Just about okay getting on the power there, coming through Cops. Thought it was going to end up pushing me a little bit wide. A little bit quicker that I wanted to be coming through the second half of Maggots Beckett's there, so just going to lose momentum all the way down the straight here, not being able to get on the power as early as I'd wanted. And so that was a better line going into stow that time, just a touch early trying to get on the power again, pushing me a little bit wide. A bit too much of that inside curb initially as well. Alright, so here comes Tom again. Car is just beautifully balanced through Brooklands there, that previous corner, just balancing with the throttle a little bit, the sort of entry oversteer the whole way around. Right, let's try and get a better run through Maggots Beckett's this time. Cutting that inside curb. Inside on this one as well, this is better. And then on the power, there we go, that was a better run, so didn't carry too much apex speed through Beckett's, and then managed to get on the power much cleaner to get out of Chapel. And a little bit quick into Stowe, but we get away with it, didn't really lose too much time. So I'm going to try and be putting in some quicker laps now. We've been a little bit off of my pace that I was hoping to be running. Should be able to be mid 35s really. We've been a bit off that so far, I think. Alright, let's do a little commentary around a lap, shall we, of Silverstone Historic. So we've got Copse coming up, just going to hold it in 5th on the limiter almost, just a breeze onto the brake, and then being careful with the timing on the power just after the apex really, make sure it doesn't push you out. Now we've got Maggots, so flat through here, down into 5th, cut the inside curb, back down into 4th, we've missed the curb on the inside there though. And then just waiting for the power, just about okay. Again, that's an easy place to try and get on the power a little bit too early, not be patient enough and have it just push you wide. It's like the lead two are right on top of themselves now as we come up to Stowe, so braking gently, down into 3rd, getting that curb on the inside is better, just balancing the oversteer on the exit. And then into Vale, so just balancing the throttle in 5th. Down into Club, got to be careful not going into that 3rd gear quite so early next time. I did blow my engine in there in practice by trying to bang it down that gear a little bit too soon. Completely flat through Abbey here, no corner at all for the historic version of the track. And then into Bridge, a little bit of a lift and just balancing the throttle, get the very end of the curb. Brooklands 3rd gear, hard on the power now. Well, that was Priory, sorry, this is Brooklands, 2nd gear, get over that inside curb, and then into Luffield. I can never remember whether it's Luffield first or Woodcote. I think it's Luffield first and then Woodcote here on the exit. And we lost a little bit of time on that one. Not the cleanest laps again, but yeah, that's a lap around Silverstone, one of my favourite tracks along with Brands Hatch on the service. So fast, you know, Maggots, Beckett's Chapel that we're seeing now, you just fly into here, and then the same going through Bridge and Priory at the end of the lap really. A little bit early slowing for the apex through there that time. Tom's gained tons of time on me. So it looks like the leaders are going to have a back marker to deal with in a minute as I watch Tom get bigger and bigger in the mirrors. Should just about be okay. Oh. Except we've stuffed up our apex speed completely. I did try and brake quite late really just to make sure Tom wasn't going to have a sniff, but didn't really end up judging it quite as we wanted. And we've got a reasonable exit out of Club, but Tom's going to be right on us again. So we're going to have to defend again through Bridge, which is going to make it tough again for both of us really.
And clear.
Tom was able to stay much closer that time. He's ended up dropping back a little bit previous laps. And we've just not quite got over that inside curb as we wanted that time. Big kick of oversteer, and we've had too much apex speed into Luffield there. But square the corner off, get on the power hard. Going to give us a good run coming towards the first corner at least. And then we get back to Copse, just resting my foot on the brake, off the brake, get over that inside curb. Good time on the power on that one. Right, just keeping an eye on the back marker again as we come through this fast section. Don't want to get caught halfway around. Just having to be a little bit careful on the power there, making sure the back end wasn't going to come around. Looks like the leaders are side by side as they come towards Vale and Club. Getting just a little bit too much apex speed into Stowe there, as we were on wide as well, think of that marker. So didn't help myself really there. And it looks like there hasn't been a change up front now at all. Simon is still leading Danilo. So we've only got 4 minutes left of the race, so it looks like we're definitely going to be fine on fuel. Getting over that inside curb that time was better. And then just needed to have gotten on the power just a fraction earlier there, so that we didn't get on that inside curb quite so much, if at all. But we've got a little bit of breathing space from Tom again. Looks like the leaders are going to be neck and neck again as they head towards Stowe. Just a tenth between them as they turned in. Just about managed to handle that oversteer an inch as I banged it down the gears.
3 more.
Didn't quite get the line coming into priority that time, missed the apex by a mile, and then we're a little bit late braking for Brooklands as well. Should just about get away with it, and Tom in the background has a little spin at the same time, so whether that was him reacting to my little oversteer moment or just of his own, but that puts us comfortably in third now, and again it's just keeping an eye on the leaders, seeing how they end up squabbling a little bit through the last, what we're expecting, 2 laps. I think we're going to have a white flag next time by, I think. So we want to try and stay on it really, just in case there is an opportunity to capitalise on them getting themselves tangled up a bit, but I think really now that's going to be race over with a back marker ahead, just keeping an eye on as well. They're side by side again as I head into Stowe.
Let's get these bitches out of the way, man. 4.
Making sure we're not going to get tangled up now with Jeff. Thank you very much, sir. Moves across nice and early, makes his intentions clear. Ooh, I was saying about keeping on it, capitalising on any mistakes. The leaders got tangled up into bridge here. Right, so let's just keep concentrating. If they end up not too far back, then they could well be right on top of us again, but I think we're looking pretty safe. 5 seconds back nearly to Danilo. Looks like Simon's the one that came off worse than that. I'm seeing him behind Tom now. Right, white flag. So this, I just need to keep concentrating, make sure I don't throw this away now, but that has been very much handed to me. Tom spinning, what, a lap earlier, letting me off the hook behind. And I was saying about, you know, just looking for that opportunity to capitalise into the guys ahead, but let's just concentrate this last lap. We don't need anything particularly quick at all, just nice and safe. Doesn't look like we're going to have any back markers or anything to worry about. Be interesting to see what the post-race chat is like with that incident there. We'll have a quick look on the replay, I think, after the race as well, out of our own curiosity. See what my judgment on it is going to be. Obviously, it can always look slightly different from another player's computer anyway, so we won't take too many harsh views on it, but be interesting to have a look. Right, final couple of corners, nice and steady through Brooklands. Make sure we don't have an oversteer moment again, he says. Nice and calm into the last corner. Looks like it's going to be pretty tight for second between a damaged Danilo and Tom, and in fact Tom's got him, so Danilo's been relegated down to third. Checkered flag. Hello, Mr. Man on the start line, and that was a very, very fortunate win. Wasn't really a man, but thank you, spotter. Yeah, so yeah, good fun race. It wasn't anything like the pace that I'd been running in practice the last couple of days, but I had my WCS race in between, we'll say, and perhaps just lost a little bit of time. But anyway, let's have a look and see what people are going to be saying in a moment. Looks like Simon perhaps wasn't particularly happy as an initial reaction, but yeah, we won't read out. You probably won't quite make out what you wrote in the game chat, but let's say yeah, Simon's not impressed at Danilo, so we'll have a look in a sec. Let's just type unlucky guys just as a initial thing. So it looks like maybe just Danilo got, yeah, maybe a little bit impatient, maybe being stuck behind. So yeah, let's jump straight to that. That's what we want to look at, isn't it? And see what happened. What was it? It was only a lap before, wasn't it? So that's the final lap. That's one before. Let's find Simon. And let's rewind. And we'll see him in the gravel. There we go. And let's go back a bit more. Right, that'll do. Outside camera. Let's go for this one. That looks good. Right. Simon in front. Danilo behind. As I head towards bridge. So Danilo's got a good run. Both take the line. Ooh. Yeah, I think we'll have a look at that again a little bit slower. I mean, let's have a look. Let's not say anything first. Right, let's play it nice and slowly in slow-mo. So Simon didn't defend or anything to start with, did he? I went a bit too far. He was just on his normal racing line as he came out of Abbey, so he didn't move away to the right or anything initially, did he? No, so just taking his normal line, pointed, you could see now he's pointed straight across at the very edge of the track, I would say. Let's quickly look at it now from Danilo's car, see how close we are. Roll bar. Right, so Danilo's still behind, on my screen anyway. Simon's still moving across, but still there's quite a bit of space here at the minute. You can see Danilo's got quite a bit more top speed. So Danilo is well and truly alongside. What, half a car across now? Now we're ending up not much more than a car length, and now Simon just comes across to take what is his normal line. Danilo is on. You can see you might not be able to quite see him tires right on the rumble strip there. And in fact Danilo comes back across slightly, but then he knows the grass is coming, and then that's the point here where contact is made, and that was it. I think an optimistic position to want to be in, and that's not really where Danilo is now. Let's see if we have another decent view. Let's go for the nose. Yeah, it doesn't really show us a huge amount there, but I'm not sure this position is a particularly comfortable position I'd want to be in. But to be fair to Danilo, I would say there's quite a bit of space initially, so I would say what now is the point where Danilo's alongside, and I mean perhaps we haven't got quite the perspective, but it looks like we've got a good third of the a good third of the track still there at the point where I would say Danilo's come past. You'd think that Simon would have his spotter call car left side, and and yeah, just continue to take his normal racing line. Now, of course, it's all very well and good me clicking through frame by frame, look, but that it's such a high-speed section of circuit. That is like a second or two. So Danilo's way behind, alongside, impact, done. I mean, that's like less than a second between Danilo coming by and or getting level rather, and a contact. So yeah, I would call that racing instance. But you could sit there and say, Danilo is at a place you wanna be, as Simon has been moving across from not moved across a huge amount. He's in the centre of the track there, and he's gradually coming, but he's always been pointed that way. And equally, I think Simon would have had that call on his spotter if he hadn't spotted it in the mirrors, and perhaps could have just kept that car length. I wouldn't really say there was much more space that Danilo could have kept. He came away from the edge of the road just slightly. His tyres over the line there, and maybe just come slightly, but he's got the grass coming up. So I think I would call that 6 of one, half dozen of the other, maybe. But yeah, unlucky for both of them to get through that whole race. Be separated only by a few tenths pretty much the whole way, and and end up taking each other out. What positions did they actually manage to finish in? So Danilo hung on to that third place podium, and Simon finished 5th. So yeah, I think pretty tough, one of those things, racing incident, but yeah, shame for those two. I don't want to try and say too much more. Right, my own race. Well, as I said, we're a bit slower than we were expecting. What did we do? There's lots of 36s in there, and just a couple of those were I had to defend from Tom, so I lost a bit of time. Coming through bridge, for instance, I had to take quite awkward positions really to try and discourage Tom from looking to get past, but even so, should have been in the 35s more often. Fastest lap was a 35.5, so a bit off the pace, but hey, we lucked into a win. Let's make sure we save the replay so that you get your picture-in-picture. Radical Silverstone, and let's have a quick look at the points. I think we had quite a strong top half of the field really, with us 4 all in the race, but the race didn't split, so I wouldn't think it would be huge points, but let's have a look. 142, so yeah, not too bad. We'll take that fairly happily, I think, as a points haul for the week. That's going to be my only race. This is my first race of the week, by the way, and unless I randomly do one tomorrow, Monday, which I wouldn't have thought so, yeah, it's probably going to be only a race for the week. Which is a shame, because I really enjoy Silverstone, and I was pretty quick here in qualifying. Happy to be 3rd overall for the week in quali, just a couple of hundredths really off of pole by the end of the week. But yeah, so just having to move between this and the WCS, perhaps lost a little bit of time in race pace maybe. Yeah, so for WCS, so I had we were at Virginia International Raceway for I think what was round 7 of the World Championship Series yesterday, Saturday, the 24th. Managed to get on a grid pretty much by default, because only 34 licensed drivers, WCS licensed drivers, turned up, and so one spot then went to a newly promoted pro driver, which I think was Patrick, I forget your surname, sorry, Patrick Holtzman or something along those lines, I apologise. And so we managed to scrape on the grid second last, say almost by default really, but yeah, it was alright, just sort of sat at the back of the field really, tried not to make too many mistakes. I mean, Virginia International Raceway is just the most ridiculous circuit to try and drive an F1 car. I don't understand why it has to be on the schedule every season. Every single season that I think I've raced the F1 car, I think it's been on there. But yeah, it was good fun, pretty clean for the most part. I made a couple of silly little mistakes, one near the beginning, one near the end, but we finished 25th and got myself a few points, which was good. Good that I made it more than just a few laps in, like I did at Watkins last time. And then the next round for the WCS is at Montreal, which is a proper Grand Prix circuit, so that's much better compared to VIR. But I'm not really looking forward to Montreal particularly. I find it really tough with the curbs and the chicanes there. It's really tricky in any car, I'm sure, but particularly in the F1 car. The Radical here is going to be at Barber next week, which is a track I double checked earlier I do own, but I'm not convinced I've actually ever driven there in any car, so perhaps I'd bought it to do something and never got around to it, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm going to run in a Radical next week because I need to be thinking about practicing for WCS again in Montreal for 2 weeks' time, and then next Sunday, in fact pretty much this time now, is the 2.5 hours of Silverstone for the Neo series, the Neo GT or GT Neo. Brain's not working. Yeah, Neo GT series, 2.5 hours of Silverstone. So I'll be representing ApexRacingUK Team 2, I think. And the guys last time out at Road America had a decent result there, with a second spot overall in the pro class for Sebastian Job, who I'll be taking his spot as a pro driver for this round, and Clive Lawrence had a good qualifying pole for the amateurs, but unfortunately had connection issues in the race. But anyway, good race last time out, even though I did manage to screw up the fuel for Sebastian as I was spotting for him. So I'll be taking that spot at Silverstone next week, so I think I'll be doing the practice for that mostly, and the WCS, and I might have a quick go at Barber in the Radical just to see how I find it in practice, but if it's going to take a bit of time to get going, then we'll probably give that week a skip, and then where are we at after Barber? And then Watkins Glen Classic Boot, so that's a circuit I know very, very well, so hopefully we look on the pace for there in a couple of weeks' time, if nothing else. Right, so thank you for watching. Guys, if you do like these videos, do put a like on it, do subscribe. All of those sorts of things helps just to try and get it bumped up on as many people's welcome pages and that sort of stuff as possible. The viewings have maybe dropped off a little bit the last couple of weeks, which isn't the end of the world. But if not many people end up watching it, then it'll be a bit of a shame. I'll end up having to, well, not having to, but I won't really feel the benefit maybe of doing the records anymore. So it'd be nice to try and keep it up a little bit if you're enjoying it. So do share it around and put the likes on and subscribe to the Apex Racing UK channel if that appeals, if you so wish. Right, that'll do then.